Welcome to watch the video of how to write your final year project report, and it will be useful for your both IBM and capstone project reports. So this is a project report format front page, as you already know about this. Here the teammate's name, the registration number, it should be written, and the year of passing, declaration, bona fide and acknowledgement, everything you should write. Project summary. So in this project summary, the first thing is a project title. So you should give a proper title. It should start either with a design, development, likewise. Don't use the direct using machine learning based on deep learning, like then your teammate's name, your guide name, then program concentration area and technical requirements. First, you should understand the difference between these two. What do you mean by a program concentration area? So your title comes under which particular area. You should mention the particular domain alone. Okay, then the technical requirements. So for your project, what are the technical requirements? So under this you can mention deep learning. Okay, so here we are implementing with the real-time systems, then a compiler technology, autonomous vehicle engineering. So these are the technical requirements for this particular project. So next, codes and standards and realistic constraint. So it is a main part of a project. Okay, first you should understand what do you mean by a constraint. A constraint is nothing but it's similar to that of a limitation for your project. Okay, there are several constraints. So here for this title, environment constraint, health and safety, sustainable constraint. Okay, so for environment, what are all the limitations that this project is having? Okay, then regarding health and safety, what are the limitations? Then for sustainability, what are the limitations? Okay, so for that, based on the constraint, we have to adjust the design. Okay, so you have to explain the constraint in a brief manner. Okay, then the engineering standards. So what type of engineering standard that is related to our project? Okay, mainly we should follow the IEEE standard. What type of IEEE standard we are going to use? So for us, here in this topic we are having a software test documentation standard abstract. Okay, so while writing the abstract, you don't need to copy from that your base paper and paste here. Okay, so while writing the abstract, you don't have to use the words such as research. Okay, the paper, likewise words should not be here in this abstract. Okay, abstract should be in a neat format. Okay, what type of algorithm that you are going to implement and what are all the results that you going to get. Okay, table of contents. So generally we are having an introduction, literature survey, system analysis. So we should mention the page numbers here. Okay, for every chapter you should include one. Completing all these chapters, we should mention the references. What are the references that we used during the implementation of the project? Then the publication. What publication we are having? Either it is a Scopus Index, conference or journal. Okay, or if some cases if you have a pattern means that also you can mention. Then the certifications related to your project, if you have completed any certifications means that also you should include. Then the plagiarism report, list of diagrams that you used is the list of academic reference courses. This semester itself you have studied many subjects that is related to your project. Okay, comes with the first chapter, that is introduction. So in the introduction what you should write? Okay, in the introduction you should clearly mention what problem it is solving, what problem the project that you are going to implement is going to solve. Then you have to explain the impact, the real world impact of your project. Okay, then you should explain which background it is coming and what are the key terms that you are going to implement. Okay, so then the objective of your project. Okay, so the readers that can expect from your report and they can define what are the boundaries representing your work. Okay, so this is how we are writing the introduction. First, background and motivation. So what motivates you to design this work? Problem statement, you clearly define what is the problem you identified in the previous work, and for that work what solution you are going to give. Okay, so the objective should be listed out one by one. Okay, so what you are going to achieve, that we call it as the objective of the project. You should clear with your objectives. Then the scope of the project. So every project is come with a well-defined scope. Okay, so it can be measured with their performance based on some metrics such as accuracy, latency, throughput and power consumption. Okay, then the overview, methodology overview. So right from the pre-processing, progressing stage, from the data acquiring to till the deployment, we should have a overview. So that we call it as the methodology overview. Chapter 2, literature survey. So in literature survey, so before we going to start the project, first we should have a thorough knowledge of the existing methods, various papers, and we have several findings from all these things. Okay, this is the overview of the related work. Okay, so previously what are the works that has been done and what type of algorithm that they have implemented, that we have to check. Okay, then literature review of the related works, it should be mentioned and it's a way of citation. Okay, it should be in a proper order like 1 2. Likewise, you should include all your references. Okay, then we should identify the research gaps from the survey. Then the chapter 3 is nothing but the system analysis. So we should understand the problem deeply, then only we can able to give the solution. First we should understand the requirements. So what are all the requirements we are having? It can be classified into functional and non-functional requirements. Okay, we can see that briefly later. Okay, then the constraint. So constraint means already I mentioned the limitations. So what are the limitations? The current solution. So after analyzing this system, existing system related to our problem, first what do they do well? Okay, and where do they fall short? That we have to identify. This is a chapter 3, stakeholder analysis. So from the end user point of view, what are the requirements that first we should analyze? Okay, so for that only we need to provide the solution. Okay, so we should understand what accuracy that we needed and what will be the false positive that we have to prevent, what drawbacks that we have to overcome from the existing methods that we studied. That all we should analyze from this stakeholder analysis. Functional requirements. So to perform it well and to function it well, the particular product, what are the requirements we need? Here for this project, they need the object detection requirement, then the semantic segmentation requirement, then the system integration. Okay, we need to integrate one device with the another. So we particularly need the system integration. And what are the non-functional requirements? The performance, okay, the performance, reliability and safety, that we call it as the non-functional. Okay, so performance means, so after we implemented all these things, how it will react, that we call it as the performance requirements. Then the safety requirement. Okay, so whether it is not harmful to the user. Okay, so additionally the environment based and the usability and maintenance requirements. Then we should study what feasibility that we needed for this project. Okay, risk analysis. What are the risk when we are implementing this project? What type of risk that we have to face, that we need to analyze the technical risk and the data set. Okay, fourth part. Okay, this is a very important part. Design alternatives and trade-off analysis. Suppose if I developed one algorithm means, okay, in a first attempt itself, surely I will not complete the correct algorithm. Okay, so I tried many algorithms. After that only I finalized the corrected one. Okay, so that concept is known as design alternate. Okay, the design alternates of the system architecture. So while I'm using the system architecture in the first attempt itself, I have failed with this. Okay, so the cloud based ADAS architecture when I'm using is it came with failed. Then I used another type of evaluation. Okay, then in some cases I used a different architecture. For that also I get different results. Okay, the best solution. Object detection model also I tested my model with various possibilities and find the suitable one. Here you find out. So these are the key features of every platform. So and I should identify which one is best based on the AI performance, power, cost, is the system design and implementation. So this is the fifth part, is system implementation. So in the system design and implementation, first I have to look the overview of the architecture. Then what are all the components that I required. Then the tools, various tools that I have to implement with various technologies. Then finally the development process. So this is the chapter 5, the system design and implementation. First I have to give a introduction. So from the design alternatives I should understand which one is the best one. So after I choosing that I have the system architecture. Okay, then the flow of that architecture. So this is a simple sample diagram. processing stage, right from the pre-processing stage, then the object detection stage, then what type of software architecture I am using, then how I integrating that with that hardware device. Note means here suppose if I studied deep learning in the 5th semester means I should include that with the subject code. So I should interconnect that subject with this particular system design. Next chapter is the feedback and iterative design. So why do we need the feedback? Okay. So if I develop the product, I need to get the customer feedback. Then only I identify whether I deployed it correctly or not with the help of the feedback. Okay. So from the feedback and reviews, I can able to correct my errors. So this is a feedback and iterative session. In implementation and initial testing with various comparisons. Okay, so these are the different metrics and methods that CAS algorithms, and I identify which one is the best performer. Okay, I am getting the analysis using computer, so the recommendation I should follow. Then our mentor feedback. After collecting all these feedback data, I should select the algorithm. So then the 7th chapter is of testing and validation. So implementation feedback is different from testing and validation. So this is nearly the final stage. Okay. So the testing stage. So here in this testing, it demonstrates how our testing validates the system and its functional requirements. It find out whether it is robust, dependable, and is ready for real time usage. Chapter 7. So that testing strategy, results, and the testing integration. Then the chapter 8 is of results and discussion. So in the results and discussion, what you should include is first you should mention the data set, what data set you have taken and where you have taken the data set. Either it is a already available standard data set or the real-time data set that you have collected in and around your area. That first you should mention. Then you have to explain it with the table. So from the table you have to draw, graph, chart. You should clearly mention how you achieve the result. That's what most important. The result analysis, we have to state that the objectives and the literature's review and explain our findings. Okay. Chapter 8 is this results and discussion, as I already mentioned. Okay. First, you should mention the system performance and how is it performing with your algorithm. Then the discussions, the limitations and the trade-off. Final chapter, that is a conclusion, references and annexure. Okay. So in the conclusion, you should conclude that for your algorithm, what is your achievement and the references. So the recent references only we should include it. Okay, for the past 3 years only you should include in your references. The bibliography with this references should be included. The conclusion and the future hope, whether you achieved the objective that you first defined or not, that you should discuss here. Okay, because right from the start of the project you should have some objectives. Okay, from the problem statement you define some objectives. Here in this conclusion you should mention that whether you satisfy or achieve that particular objectives or not. The key contributions of your project, the impact and significance of it, what are all the limitations and the challenges present in it. Okay, once you concluded, you should mention the limitations of your project and the future challenges, so the future scope and enhancement, how you're going to carry over this work in the later stages, and the applications, what are the broader applications your project that is having. References, as I already mentioned. Then this is plagiarism checking. So by using the Turnitin software only, you should check the plagiarism. Okay, for both the project report and your paper, you should get the similarity index. So for the both the similarity and the AA plagiarism also we should check with the Turnitin. That also you should paste in the report. The front page of the paper. So the title and the author names should be included here. If you got acceptance from any conference or journal means, that also you should include. Then any certifications, courses, finally you mentioned it with the AQSC format. Okay. Thank you for watching the video. Meet you in the next video. Till then, it's goodbye from Vijay.